Yeah, good morning everyone. So welcome to one more lecture on radiation heat transfer. So what so far we have discussed, we have some recap. Then we'll go for the other topic, right? Now to start with, what exactly available as part of your syllabus. So first one is the basics of radiation. Already we discussed. Then different laws of radiation, that also we have discussed. Like your Planck's law, Kirchhoff law, Wien's law, etc. Then we have something called as radiation heat transfer between the black surfaces. That's a very important concept because you expect the problems based on this particular topic in your examination. Okay. Then you have something called as radiation heat transfer between the non-black surfaces, the other concept. Then you have finally the radiation shields. Radiation shields is the other topic, right? Now, what exactly we discussed in the last class, we have seen problems based on radiation heat transfer between the two black surfaces. Now, just have some recap about what is the radiation heat transfer between the two black surfaces. You remember whenever there are two black surfaces available for radiation heat transfer, the process of finding out the radiation heat transfer becomes very easy because I have to find out one-way shape factor. One-way shape factor. Okay, so F12, what I discussed already. If I find out that F12, it's enough for us that I can find out the Q12, where Q12 indicates the radiation heat transfer from first surface to the second surface. Okay, so one way is enough because in case of the black surfaces, one side heat transfer, the heat which is emitted from one particular surface will going to absorb in the other surface. Similarly, from 1, 2 to 1. So here I'll be finding out only the shape factor F12 and I can solve the problems easily. So now in this particular topic, we have discussed so many problems, or I can see the different cases, like you have parallel rectangles, you have perpendicular rectangles, you have coaxial cylinders, remember? So you have something called as a perpendicular rectangles with no common edge, how to solve the problems of a shape factor. Hence, finding out the heat transfer between the two surfaces when both the surfaces are black. Okay. Now, this particular topic, particular problems are a little bit tedious. So then I have gone for a concept called as network or electrical network analogy for the radiation heat transfer problems. Electrical network analogy for the radiation heat transfer problem. So you remember, so whenever there are two surfaces, I can reduce those two surfaces into equivalent electrical network where you have a formula based upon this Q12. I'll show you that afterwards. So Q12 is given by EB1 minus EB2 by 1 by A1 F12. Okay, so where EB1, EB2 are the emissive powers from the black bodies 1 and black body 2. So once if I know what are the temperatures of surfaces T1 and T2, I can easily find out what are the emissivity emissive powers or emissive powers of the two black bodies, that is the EB1 as well as EB2. Okay, now to find out Q12, you remember we just gone for some electrical network where R is called as shape factor resistance, that is 1 by A1 F12. Okay, so that again I will just show you the diagram. I'll revise it once again. So once you have taken the concept of electrical network analogy, it becomes very easy to solve this problems based on radiation heat transfer. Then we have gone discussed last class what is the heat transfer between two non-black surfaces. So whatever the problems we have discussed in black surfaces will try to appear again in the non-black surfaces, because in case of black surfaces, we'll assume that emissivity or absorptivity of the surface as 1, that epsilon is 1. But what happened to the non-black surface? Because the surfaces are non-black, so you find that there is some emissivity, that is the emissive power of a body to the emissive power to the black body. That ratio is called as emissivity. So the emissivity of the surface will be given in the problem. Now based upon the emissivity, how the radiation heat transfer varies, everything will be same, only the slight change in the formula. Because you remember, so instead of having that EB1 minus EB2 by 1 by A1 F12, we have some two additions to 1 by A1 F12, which is called as shape factor resistance. In addition to the shape factor resistance, we have two surface resistances, which is called as 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 A1, then 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 A2. So those, if you just find it out, all the parameters, I can find out straight away what is Q1, 2. Okay, right. Now just see, this is what we discussed, right? Now see here, as I explained you for already, Q12 is given by EB1 minus EB2 by 1 by A1 F12. This is for a black surfaces. Whenever the surfaces are black, so you have this particular thing here. Okay, so let me just have some highlighter. Yes, that. So this is particular EB1 minus EB2 by A1 F12. So just remember, so whenever we have taken the parallel rectangles, I can reduce this particular parallel rectangles problem into electrical entomology problem like this. So assume that surface 1 is the first one, second surface is 2. Then you have something called as resistance, which I have taken like this. So EB1 minus EB2. So one way you will have a heat transfer. So EB1, EB2, I can find it out provided I know what is T1 and T2. And I need to find out only one thing, that is what is F12, where F12 is called as shape factor, and A1 and 1 by A1 F2 is called as shape factor resistance. So this is the case for infinite parallel planes when both the surfaces are black. Okay. Now, similarly, we have seen how to draw the network problem based on perpendicular rectangles. Okay. So I have given a hint that how to solve the problems based upon the radiation heat transfer between the two black surfaces and what is known as a shape factor resistance. Okay. Now you have plenty of things available in your data book. So charts thing. So how to take the data for a parallel rectangles, perpendicular rectangles, then coaxial cylinders, etc., etc. Right. So now if you just see, if there are two coaxial cylinders where I need to find out the radiation transfer, I can just depict this thing with the help of electrical network, with the help of electrical network analysis like this here. So this is the resistance 1 by A1 F12. Again, in this case also, I can find out what is A1 F12. Okay. So hope you understood about what is the radiation heat transfer between the black surfaces, how to solve the problems. Okay. Now this particular formula, what I explained last class, what is that? So Q12 for non-black surfaces, which is EB1 minus EB2 by 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 A1 plus 1 by A1 F12 plus 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 A2. So hope you remember this one. So previously when black body is there, you don't find this epsilon 1, epsilon 2 because there is no emissivities. So here it will be like AB1 minus EB2 by A1 F12. So whenever both are non-black surfaces, just remember I have to add two more resistances in addition to the shape factor resistance. That is 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 A1 and 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 A2, where the problems, in the problems they will mention what is emissivity, epsilon 1 as well as epsilon 2, and how to show that in the electrical network analysis diagram I have shown like this. Now these assume that you have infinite parallel planes, right? Now this is how I can just draw the network problem. So EB1, EB2 as usual, and here they have given epsilon 1 as well as epsilon 2. Now you have two more resistances, R1 and R2, which are called as surface resistances, which is given by this particular formula here. Then shape factor resistance 1 by A1 F12. If I just find out all the things, keep it in the denominator addition, so that I can find out what is the heat transfer between the surface 1 to the surface 2 when both the surfaces are non-black. Okay. So I hope you understood what exactly we have discussed and what is the electrical network analogy problem. Okay. Now just a simple thing. And before going for this particular problem here, now all these problems what I am going to discuss, they are showing one formula here. Q12 is FG12, which is this particular formula they have taken everything available as here common, and that particular thing he call it as FG12. I'll tell you how you got this FG12. Then A1 sigma B T1 minus 4 T4. So obviously sigma B T1 power 4 minus sigma B T2 power 4 is nothing but your EB1 minus EB2. EB1 minus EB2. Now this particular thing FG12 into A1 is similar as what we discussed in the previous page. That is, you just see, yes, yeah, this is the formula. Now we can see EB1 is sigma T1 power 4, sigma B T2 power 4, that is available. Now he has taken A1 as common. So A1 he has just taken common in the denominator. Now that A1, 1 by A1 will come here if you take A1 as common. Now that 1 by A1, if you just take it from here particular denominator, so that 1 by A n will be outside. So it becomes like 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 plus 1 by F12 because A1 already have taken common plus 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 into, so because A1 I have taken out, so I have to multiply by A1 here. So it becomes like A1 by A2. Now where is that 1 by A1? That A1, I'll send it to the top. I'll send it to the top. Now what happens here? You have at the top A1, EB1 minus EB2, okay? And you have the entire formula as 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 plus 1 by F12 plus 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 into A1 by A2 because I have taken A1 as common. That entire thing what is available after taken A1 common, that he is calling it as FG12, that is gray body factor. So like your leg shape factor, you have something called as gray body factor. Yeah, see there. Yeah. So this is EB1. This combination is EB1, and sigma B T2 power 4 is EB2, and A1 whatever he has taken common here, that is send a numerator, and this FG12 is the entire expression, that is 1 by 1 minus epsilon 1. So similar expression what we discussed in the top. Okay, remember, right? So don't worry about this thing. So if you just keep as usual whatever the formula we discussed at the top, you get the same thing. They simplified into a very small formula, that is Q12 is Fg of 12 A1 sigma B T1 power 4 T2 power 4. Fg of 12 is nothing but same thing what I discussed in the top. You just see A1 you has taken common, and finally you got this denominator like this. Okay, right. Now just go for problems now. You're able to understand here. Now this particular problem discusses there are two parallel infinite planes. So whenever infinite planes are available, you can assume that F12 is equals to 1 because the distance between the two planes is infinity. So then automatically you can assume that shape factor F12 is 1 because very far distance. Now there are two temperatures, 420 Kelvin, 480 Kelvin. What is the net heat flux between these two planes? If one has emissivity of 0.8, the other has an emissivity of 0.7. So both are non-black surfaces. They have given that black, what is known as the emissivity for two surfaces, that is 0.8 as well as 0.7. Okay. Now they are given the thing. Does it matter which plate has which emissivity? So whatever emissivity, if you change, suppose I'll take one as 0.8, first surface as 0.8, other one is 0.7. If you interchange, we'll see what will happen. So first, if you take first one as 0.7, another one as 0.8, what will happen? That is the question. How this heat flux will be affected if the temperature difference is doubled by raising the temperature 480 Kelvin to 540. So you have the second plate 480, no? If you just, this condition they have mentioned. So whenever the temperature difference is raised by raising the temperature, so instead of 480, it is gone to 540. What is the effect? Similarly, instead of non-black, both the plates are black. So how the problem is giving the solution. Okay. Now we have single formula for black and black surfaces. There's a Q12 equal to Fg12 A1 sigma B T1 power 4 minus T2 power 4 R. You just take it as EB1 minus EB2. So remember here how I can solve this particular problem here. Now, so these are two parallel plates. Yes. So these are two parallel plates. Now how I can keep the resistances, you know. Okay. So this is how I'll take the resistances and I'll just take it as, so this is only whenever you have shape factor. So I have to add some more, two more resistances here, like this, select them, yeah, and one more resistances like this. So where these are, so this is R1. So assume that this is 1 for me and this is 2. Now this is EB1. Okay. Now this is EB2. Right. So this is how I can reduce the problem. Now my formula finally becomes Q12, 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1. Okay. 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1. It's here. There into 1 plus 1 by F12, 1 epsilon 2 epsilon 2. Now see how they have solved this problem. Now for infinite long parallel planes which see each other, and they have given same area because they mentioned the area of the two plates. Nothing is mentioned, or they have given, I can assume that both are same area, and F12 equal to 1 because infinite parallel planes. Now first is try to find out what is the gray body factor, that is FG12. Now you got that as 0.59, and if you just substitute in this formula here, it becomes Q12. How much is the amount of radiation heat transfer from first surface to second surface? Yes, that is Q12 is 0.59. It is the 5G12 into A1 into A2, nothing is given, assumed as 1 meter square into sigma B, that is EB1 minus EB2 is sigma B into T1 minus 4 minus T power 4. So sigma B, I have taken 5.67 10 power minus 8, 480 power 4, that is the, always you keep this one as absolute value. Then 420 power 4, that is another plate temperature. So what is the radiation heat transfer now? It is 734.86 watts per meter square. Why it's a watts per meter square? Because I assume the area as 1 meter square, right? Now it is immaterial which plane has which emissivity, since the emissivity depends upon independent of temperature. So whenever if I take the emissivity formula, so they won't be depending on what is the temperature. So if it consider this is 1 or this is 2, 1 and 2, and epsilon 1 here, epsilon 2, or epsilon 1, this is first term, this is second, with interchange also, you won't find any change in the answer. You will be getting the Q1 as 734.86 watts per meter square. Okay. Now what he said in second case, if the temperature T2 is increased from 480 Kelvin to 540, what will happen? So instead of 480 here, I replaced it by 540. Now you see what is the difference. So just a small change in temperature, increase in temperature. Instead of 734, what is the value here? 1803.5 watts per meter square. Now you see, obviously the heat flux increases by a factor of how much? So 1803.55 divided by 734. So obviously 2.45 times when the temperature is doubled, because instead of instead of 480, if not doubled, so instead of 480, if I make it as 540, then what happens? So this is the 2.45 times your heat is going to be increased. Okay, right? Now, last case, what is telling that if the surfaces are black, so what will happen? There is no epsilon 1, there is no epsilon 2. So this is the simple formula. What is F12 equal to 1? A1 is 1. Now this becomes just a sigma B into Tm power 4 minus T2 power 4. That is a thing. 1245.52 watts per meter square. Now just compare these things. That is Q12 when both are non-black, 734.86, and when both are black, it is 1245, because whenever both are black surfaces, the one-way heat transfer is high, because whatever the heat directly which is going from one surface will be maximum thing absorbed by the second plate. Okay, that's why you have more heat transfer in this case when the both the surfaces are black, and less heat transfer rate whenever the both the surfaces are non-black. So hope you understood the problem. It's a very simple thing. Just remember, then easily you can understand any problem based upon that. Okay. Now this particular problem I already discussed for you. So instead of a parallel rectangle, now you have something called as, yes, yeah, perpendicular rectangles. Now he's asking from ceiling to the wall, how much is the heat transfer? So you remember, so we have discussed the problem based upon the perpendicular rectangles, how it will happen whenever there is a perpendicular rectangular. Now you have charts or graph which shows us how to take this value of shape factor. Now similarly, I want to find out F12 as per the diagram. Now this is 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1, same thing, 1 by 0.15. The 0.15 I got by using the this. So I got this 0.428, 0.15 by perpendicular rectangle graph, okay, where you have dimensions as yes, you have dimensions as x, y, z, and if you just keep it in the graph or chart, okay, now you can find it out how the problem goes, right? So that's why you replace that one, and you got the formula as Q12 is around so 401. Now, why he has taken 4 here? So, one ceiling, 4 walls. The total heat transfer from the ceiling to the 4 walls is 4 into 401. The total heat transfer is 1.604 kilowatts. Okay. Now, that's how it goes. Now, the next problem already we discussed with the shape factor, how to find out the shape factor or heat transfer. But in case of a perpendicular rectangle, it doesn't have a common edge. You remember? So we convert these two surfaces into a single surface, A5, A6. Just you solve that problem. The problem will be similar like this. So I need to find out phi 6. Phi is the combination of two surfaces. So like this, we just find out. Already we discussed this problem in the previous classes. Now, similar way, I can find out what is F12. That is around 0.02. That is think what will happen. Okay. So you got the Q12 for this particular case as how much? 67.36 watts. A similar procedure you can adopt because epsilon 2, everything is given. F12 only changing. For F12, the procedure already we discussed how to find out whenever you have heat transfer between the two surfaces, it doesn't have a common edge. Okay. Now we see one more problem. It's a very, very important one. Now see here, they have mentioned a problem, a 250 mm by 250 mm ingot casting and 1.5 meters high. That means yes. Now I have a ingot like this. Let's see, this is the ingot what he is mentioning. So it will be like a cubicle. So this is the thing like this. Now, so this is how the ingot goes. It will be like a parallel pipe. It's a rectangular cuboid, right? Now see here, the problem will be like this. Yes. Yeah. Now you can just see how the problem goes. Then we'll discuss. We had 250 mm, 250 mm ingot casting. So this is 250 mm. This is 250 mm. And what is the height here? 1.5 meters. So this particular depth or the height, whatever is there, the length here you can say, it's nothing but 1.5 meters. And 125 temperature is stripped from its mold. Okay. So the casting is at 1225 Kelvin temperature. The casting is made up to stand on one end of the floor of a large foundry. Now this particular casting, which is taken from the mold, is kept in a room which is of this much big size. So this is big size of a room, and in this room you have kept that particular casting. So this is the casting. So that's the casting. So this is the casting. This is the room. Now the floor and roof can be assumed to be at 300 Kelvin. So the room is having a temperature of 300 Kelvin and the casting is having a temperature of 1225. So surface 1, surface 2. So surface 2, if you assume the room is a surface 2 and surface 1 is from the mold. So mold, the casting is having 1225 Kelvin and the room is having what is known as yes 300 Kelvin. So make calculation for the radiant heat exchange between the casting and the room. So I'll assume this surface as 1, and this entire room has 2. Okay. Now in that case, let me just write the problem now. Now see, make the calculation for radiation heat exchange between the casting and the room. The casting material has an emissivity of 0.85. So the epsilon 1 is by 0.85. Okay. Now what happens to epsilon 2? We'll see that. So take Stephen-Boltzmann constant is given. Now, as usual, what is the formula for radiation heat transfer now? It is Q12 is given by Fg of 12 A1 sigma B T1 power 4 minus T2 power 4. It's the same formula for all the problems. Okay. And this I can reduce this to electrical network energy, doesn't matter. Now, only assumption here, what you have to see here, see, because you have a small casting in a very big room. So there are two surfaces. Room is a very bigger one compared to the casting. So what I say here, A1 is the casting if you assume, A2 is the room. So the area of casting is very less compared to the room. So that is the assumption first I have to assume. Now the second one is because in this case, like infinite parallel planes case, this also I can assume that the shape factor in the shape factor resistance, shape factor I'll assume it as 1, because whenever there is a small body in a big enclosure or large enclosure, automatically you assume that F12 as 1. Now they find out what is gray body factor, that is 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 plus 1 by F12 and epsilon 2 by epsilon 2. Now there is no epsilon 2 for a room. I can't say how much is the emissivity, that value becomes 0. So 1 minus 0. Okay. So this particular form thing, we don't have this particular parameter of epsilon 2. So that's a 0. Now what is available is 1 by 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 plus 1 by F12 is again 1. So it becomes 1. So 1, this is the formula. Now what finally you will get as Fg12 is how much? 0.85. 0.85. Okay, so let me just finish this problem. Now, once I know I got Fg12 as 0.85. Now, what is A1? Now, A1, how this I got this area of the casting is like this. Now, this is like your rectangular pipe, parallel piped. So, where we have how to find out the total area from the of the ingot or casting is, first you have this particular surface 0.25 into 0.25. Okay, that's the thing. Plus now you have walls 1, 2, 3, 4 walls. 1, 2 bottom, 2 sides. So 2 bottom and 2 sides. So totally how many wall surfaces are there? Rectangular surfaces. It's a 4 into what is the area for that? 0.25 into 1.5. 0.25 into 1.2, 1.5. So totally, what is the area of the casting? It's totally as around 0.0625 plus 1.5. So totally, what is the area of the casting now? 1.5625 meters square. Now Q12, now it's given by, just replace that 0.85 what you got from Fg12 and area A1 and obviously the T1 power 4 minus T2 power 4. So what is the amount of radiation heat transfer from the casting to the room is around 171.12 kilowatts. Okay. So hope you understood this particular problem. So this problem based upon small body in a large enclosure, where large enclosure represents here the room and small body represents the casting from the mold. This is the same problem. Like assume that I want to have a cylinder which actually casted from the mold. The cylinder is kept in the room for cooling. So in that case, how much is the radiation heat transfer? Because this particular radiation heat transfer provides us how much, how faster the particular casting is being cooled when it's transferring heat from this to the room. Okay. So this problem will give us that particular idea, right? So the time being, I'll just stop because we have only 1 minute left for this particular session. Now I'll be continuing. Just do join in another 10 minutes. Now in that particular session, we'll solve some more problems and I'll explain your doubts if you have anything. Then we will discuss in the next session. Okay. So do join another 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you.